This build will give you near constant uptime on your Nova Bomb. Do you want to run around and constantly throw Nova Bomb after Nova Bomb? Would you try this build? Hey folks, it's Avatar here, and welcome back to another video. In today's build, as you probably guessed from the thumbnail, we are pairing Bad JuJu, the exotic pulse rifle, with the Warlock exotic, the Skull of Dire Ahamkara. Let's face it, both of these exotics aren't new by any means, but they both did recently just get a huge buff. So let's start with the Bad JuJu. They've increased the time of String of Curses from the base 3.5 to a base of 5.5 or 7.5 if you have the Catalyst. The mag size went up to 36, originally from 27, and it will trigger the Curse Thrall explosions a lot more often. String of Curses state, kills refill the magazine. Increase damage for a short time, but most importantly, String of Curses grants super energy based on the stacks that you have, as well as a damage increase up to 100% when you have 5 stacks. Now, onto the Skull of Dire Ahamkara. You know, you get more super energy when Devour is procced by 1 to 4%, depending on the enemy type. And of course, since we are playing Prismatic Warlock and utilizing Feed the Void aspect to get Devour on ability kills, as well as using Nova Bomb, we'll have Devour up as often as we possibly can. So on Nova Bomb kills, you can get up to 50% of your super back. This pair can net you your super back in as little as 10 seconds in the right activities. Obviously, harder in-game content, raids, master versions, Grandmaster Nightfalls, it's going to be pretty difficult to keep that uptime up as high as possible, but for regular strikes, for regular Nightfalls, hell, even Onslaught, you're going to be having your Nova Bomb so often. So that's what we're going to be using. Of course, we're using Feed the Void for the first aspect, and for the second aspect, you can use whatever you want. Bleak Watcher is a great one if you want to run and actually have a little bit more of stasis and slows, but personally, I like to go with Lightning Surge with Arcane Needle for 3 melee charges. Couple reasons I like using Lightning Surge is one, it helps us get amplified, helps us kill a fair amount of enemies all at once, as well as jolting targets. But also, if you're in a pinch, you can use it as an escape tool, and you'll have it up to 3 times. So for the grenade, again, use whatever you like. I personally like to go with Storm Grenade, I like the arc abilities, you know? Now for the fragments, these are what I would recommend using. Obviously, they're interchangeable based on your playstyle. So first, I'm going to be using Facet of Grace. With Bad JuJu being a kinetic weapon, this allows us to get Transcendence more often, as well as gaining bonus Transcendence energy for us and for nearby allies when we defeat enemies with our super, which we will have often. And then Facet of Balance is going to help us gain melee energy on rapid light defeats and grenade energy. Why can I not say that word? On darkness defeats. So those are 2 ways we're just going to get our melee and our grenade back. Next, we're going to be using Facet of Courage. This is going to allow our Arc, Solar, and Void abilities to deal increased damage to targets debuffed with a Darkness ability, or Arcane Needle, for example. And we'll have 3 charges. Awesome. So since we're constantly going to have Devour up, we're going to be also using the Facet of Sacrifice to gain additional Darkness Transcendence energy off of ability kills. And lastly, we're going to be using the Facet of Hope, since it's going to help us basically get our Rift back even faster, since we have Devour procced. With having that procced, having Devour up all the time, constantly healing, just makes things for a little bit easier, a little bit more survivability. Now that we have the majority of the build covered, let's dive into some of the mods, energy weapon, and a heavy of choice. Aerial Denial grenade launchers are utterly fantastic right now and so much fun. So if you haven't already, I'd recommend grinding Vesper's Hose for the new GL. That Aerial Denial GL can roll with Attrition Orbs. Pairing it with Void Siphon and Attrition Orbs, you're going to make an unbelievable amount of orbs, which will just help you get your super back even faster, especially in harder content. I don't have that roll yet, so if you are like me and haven't gotten it, I'd still recommend using it, since with Concussive Reload, it does help you debuff targets, giving them 15% extra damage that you have. It helps, but definitely not necessary. Mine has Demolitionist on it, which I really like because I get grenades back on kills. So I can't really complain, although I'm still chasing that Attrition Orbs roll. But if you're looking for a group to play and you don't have that, or you want to run the dungeon for the first time, or even just to farm it, check our Discord below. There's a ton of people that are going to be happy to group up, myself included. So for the heavy, I want to go with something that has the ability to output more high damage. That being grenade launchers, rocket launchers, and whatnot. The chill inhibitor is going to be a great option for you, or any other heavy GL with bait and switch, even a rocket or a GL with bait and switch and explosive light is going to pair really well with the build. In about a week and a half, a little over a week, you will be getting a God Roll chill inhibitor from the tower. It's going to be able to pick it up. So don't worry about farming for it and banging your head against the wall, because one is coming. Only prerequisite is you have to have done the dungeon first. So like I said, hop in the Discord if you need people to do that with. So, and the main mods that we're going to be using to pair with this build, for example, on our helmet, we're going to be running hands-on to get bonus super energy on powered melee kills, a kinetic siphon, and a void siphon, just to generate extra orbs from our primary and special. However, we will be using our kinetic Bad JuJu the most, just because it does help with String of Curses. Our gauntlets, however, we want to be running heavy-handed. Gets a powered or an orb off powered melee kills, which we have the ability to do pretty frequently. Firepower to get an orb off a grenade kill, and fastball because I can't stand throwing grenades slow. For the chest piece, it's always good to run resistance mods that match the activity that you're doing. You can also do any type of reserve mods for your heavier special weapon if you want, but definitely resistance mods are going to be really helpful for you. And then our leg mods, we're going to opt to use Better Already to begin health regen, picking up an orb, as well as recuperation to get health back when we pick up an orb. Since we have a ton of orbs that we'll be able to pick up, surviving shouldn't be too much of a problem. There's damage resistance as well from being amplified, plus the health regen from Devour. So all of those combined pretty well should make your survivability up there pretty high. And that means you're going to be able to play a little bit more aggressively. You can also toss in a Surge mod to help match your heavy of choice, just for a little bit extra damage. And lastly, on the class item, we are going to be using Reaper just to create another orb when we get a kill after using our class ability. Bomber and Outreach to get extra grenade and melee energy when using our class ability. See, that pairs really well with fragments and aspects that we will be using. You know, stat-wise though, I always like to recommend or prioritize myself higher resilience, recovery, and discipline. And luckily with this build, I'm able to get a pretty solid amount of intellect in there as well. Obviously, you can forego Warlock mobility, don't really need it too much. Those are what I would recommend, but obviously build into the play style that you enjoy and those stats that you want. But there you have it, folks. The constant Nova Bomb build. So go grab your Bad JuJu, throw on your Skull of Dire Ahamkara, and just throw Nova Bomb after Nova Bomb. If you liked this video, or if you found it useful, consider leaving a like. But until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one.